Cut to the number of campsites at a popular state park in the Iowa Great Lakes.
Steve Schwaller from our news partner KUOO Radio has more in this week's Lakes Area News.
Some changes could be in store for the campground at Gull Point State Park. Jake Shaben, Northwest Iowa Park Supervisor for the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, says the changes being proposed are somewhat similar to those made at the Marble Beach Campground a couple of years ago.
The general to overall plan would be add some additional 50-amp electric sites and add some full hookup campsites to the campground, and nothing would be outside of the general footprint of the current campground that we already have up there. That's something that we need to make sure everybody's aware of. Most likely, the site number will probably go down. I believe that there's 110 sites there currently, and it'll probably go down somewhere into the 70s.
Shaben is quick to point out, though, that nothing has been finalized yet and that a public informational meeting will be held yet late this summer or in the fall.
We are still in the planning and coordination phase of this campground renovation. And we don't really have any sort of finalized plans to give to the public at this time. But like I said, when that happens, we'll be happy to release that out to the public and open it up for public comment and try to keep things as transparent as possible so that everybody knows what's planning. We don't want anybody to feel like they don't know anything about this. That's not the goal of the situation.
And Shaben adds it's been many years since any renovations have taken place at Gull Point. He says there are no plans for any changes as of now at the Emerson Bay site, a short distance from Gull Point. For KTIV News 4, I'm Steve Schwaller with KUOO Radio in Spirit Lake.
Gull Point, by the way, is located on the west shore of Westlake Okoboji between Millers Bay and Emerson Bay.